After watching and discussing Kevin Durant and Draymond Green's interview most recently on Bleacher Report, my one big takeaway from this is that we are in a brand new era of NBA superstars and NBA athletes having the power and influence on social media and the power that they have and they can dictate on and off the court. Now, two other main components I really took away from this interview have got to be Kevin Durant and Draymond Green, of course, blaming Steve Kerr for the downfall of the Golden State Warriors and ultimately a big reason as to why Kevin Durant departed from the Warriors for the Brooklyn Nets, and then also Kevin Durant explaining his mentality about him leaving OKC, joining the Golden State Warriors, and him predominantly knowing his role within the organization. Now, before I hop into those two main components, let me say though that for two future Hall of Famers and two grown men in the middle of their careers, and for Draymond Green especially to be on the Golden State Warriors, to be doing this interview right now and to hash things out and to get these two men to speak eye to eye, heart to heart, man to man, for the public to see in a professional manner, that was something beautiful and phenomenal to watch, and that is a big reason as to why I say we're in a brand new wave and era of NBA athletes and superstars. Kevin Durant said at the very end of the video that he sees himself wanting to stick with the game of basketball, whether that's in a GM or coaching position throughout his tenure or after he's retired from the game of basketball. Draymond Green absolutely has the intellect to be an NBA coach at some point after his career's over. You look at a guy like Rajon Rondo, LeBron James, there's a handful of others. NBA players have a different level of social media and power that they did not have back in the day, and it is phenomenal to see this new wave of NBA athletes and generational talents. Now, on to the first component. I want to discuss Kevin Durant's mentality and how he described, and I paraphrase everything because I don't have the actual quotes in front of me, how he knew his role every single night with the Golden State Warriors. He said that before he actually joined the Warriors, and even when he was doing interviews with different teams, he knew deep down that he was going to join the Warriors because he had seen the way that these guys play together. He knew that he would fit in because Kevin Durant's one of those guys, and the only exception really with a lot of NBA athletes, that you drop him onto any team in any era and the skill set that he possesses night in and night out, he will make any team better no matter what. But Kevin Durant saw what the Golden State Warriors had built there. He saw the success that they had had. Of course, he lost to them in the conference finals 3-1. And he said that him knowing his role and actually playing his role with the Golden State Warriors was a big reason as to why he was so driven to become a Golden State Warrior and to also elevate his game with the Golden State Warriors, and that's how he ultimately became a two-time champion. He discussed that they would have three-peated easily, and everyone knows that the Toronto Raptors wouldn't have won had Kevin Durant not gotten injured during that NBA Finals back in 2019. But as Kevin Durant is discussing his role within the Golden State Warriors organization, he was also taking subtle shots inadvertently at a guy like Russell Westbrook, who of course was his 1A or 1B, however you want to chop it up, in OKC throughout his tenure. Kevin Durant then went on to discuss that him losing in the NBA Finals to LeBron James and the Miami Heat back when they had James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, and the entire crew back in OKC, he had said that he didn't want to be number two. He was talking about his mentality and how he had to cut many people off, and how all of this hard work had then had to accumulate to where he's at today as to one of the best players in the game, if not the best player as we speak right now. And that's something I have a profound respect for Kevin Durant about, because I have never once have you ever caught me on record criticizing Kevin Durant for joining the Golden State Warriors. And even after this interview, I give him even more props, because the reason he's taking subtle shots at a guy like Russell Westbrook is because Russell Westbrook's never going to be a guy you can win a championship with. And I've even said it about the Lakers now, and this is not even to get into Russell Westbrook. I'm going to kind of cut off of this in a second. Russell Westbrook was just never the guy to get Kevin Durant over the hump. He was not going to be a guy that was ever going to help elevate him, and that's why Kevin Durant felt so confused in OKC as well, because as phenomenal as a talent as Russell Westbrook can be individually, Kevin Durant didn't understand his role. He didn't know if he was going to have to be the leader, the facilitator, the scorer, you name it. And also just the high leverage moments. Russell Westbrook would not come through for the OKC Thunder on multiple times. So I understand Kevin Durant's mentality when he goes into that, and I have a profound respect for that. Now, the second and main component everybody took away from this was Steve Kerr getting blamed, essentially, for the fallout of the Golden State Warriors. Now, we obviously all remember Draymond Green being suspended from the Golden State Warriors. I believe it was only one game, if I remember correctly. But Draymond Green and Kevin Durant had that huge argument that ended up losing in the Clippers overtime game, when Draymond Green was running the ball up the floor in the winning seconds of the game, and they ended up losing to the Clippers after they went to overtime because Kevin Durant was calling for the ball. He didn't give him the ball. It ended up being a huge escalation courtside, I believe, heading into overtime, if I remember all of this correctly. This was obviously a couple of years ago. Point is, Draymond Green and Kevin Durant never got to hash out their beef completely. It was always, there was an elephant in the room, you know. Draymond Green, as phenomenal as he is, was told to apologize. There was always going to be an elephant in the room between Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. Nothing ever got really hashed out. And the reason why they blamed a guy like Steve Kerr is because when you are the head coach, you've got to control your guys. And even though they let their emotions get the best of them in the moment, there was always that elephant in the room that Draymond Green and Kevin Durant weren't always on the same page together. After that argument, they kind of danced around the issue. They said, okay, I guess if we just suspend Draymond Green for a game and, you know, tell him to go apologize, then, you know what, things will be better. They didn't handle the situation properly. The only way this was ever going to get resolved was between Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, and that clearly was not the case. It clearly had an effect on them, and it was one of the main components as to why Kevin Durant departed from the Golden State Warriors for the Brooklyn Nets and ultimately left the team, which is completely understandable. This really is a Draymond Green and a Kevin Durant issue, and I love that Draymond Green actually brought it up. I love that Draymond Green said even, you know, in year 2 he felt like Kevin Durant was there, but in year 3 it felt like he was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Draymond Green did a phenomenal job with this interview. Let's give the guy the props that he deserves, because this is exactly why I say we're in a brand new era of NBA athletes and superstars. The power that these guys have on and off the court, the chip that these guys play with, and the scrutiny that they get is sometimes just not deserved. And I understand it, but phenomenal job by Draymond Green. I cannot stress that enough. Now, I do want to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments. If you guys did not go watch the interview, it's only 24 minutes long. Go take a look. It was a phenomenal interview. I also do Jacksonville Jaguars and more NBA content here on YouTube as well. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you guys like, share, and turn on notifications. Stay tuned for that, you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the continuous support. Love you guys. That's it for this video. I'm out, boys. Peace.